So, hello again. My name is Michał Petrus. I'm representing Get Polish Citizenship, a citizenship firm based in Krakow, Poland. We are helping people with Polish ancestry to obtain Polish citizenship by descent, Polish presidential grant citizenship, and we are also doing research and genealogy searches as well that support those processes and on their own as well. So I think you can see the presentation right now. We have a lovely tree representing the family tree, I hope, and we'll go from roots to the branches as some sort of metaphor to what we do. So starting right away, who qualifies? Basically, all descendants of Polish male and female citizens, although there are some caveats that I wish to mention. Before 1951, it was much less likely for Polish female to preserve Polish citizenship than to a Polish male. I will get to the details of it, but that's worth remembering that before 1951, it is easier to trace your citizenship in a male lineage. And the other caveats really are that between 1920 and 1951, so that's again this threshold, you also have to be aware of some grounds for loss of citizenship, like public office holding or being in a foreign military. And this is saving, of course, the Allied military service during Second World War. This is an exception to this rule, but overall you have to be aware of that. Contrary to popular belief, naturalization itself, so obtaining a British citizenship or any other citizenship for that matter, doesn't always mean loss of Polish citizenship, so that's worth checking as well. And the most important factor here is that there is no language or residency requirement for the process. Moving on, so how the citizenship is passed. Poland follows the rule of blood, in Polish prawo krwi. This means that you can inherit citizenship even though you're not born on the Polish soil. So this is contrary to citizenship like in the United States or South American countries, where being born on the territory of a country makes you a citizen. This is both advantage and disadvantage for us. The advantage is that you, as descendants of Polish citizens, are able to claim this citizenship even after many years and many generations being born outside of Poland. But it also means that presenting evidence like birth certificates, marriage certificate from Poland do not really prove citizenship itself. I will also be discussing this more in detail later on. Yeah, and contrary to popular belief, there is no limit of generations. Also, you can be the first one in your family to do so. There's no need for your parents or grandparents to do the process first. Yeah, so here we have those roots, and with them we will discuss the requirements in more detail. So you need, again, Polish ancestor who was either a citizen of Second Polish Republic, which was the state that was reborn after 123 years of partitions, or be as a citizen of former partition empires of Russia, Germany, and Austro-Hungary, and living in the place that later became Poland. This is a harder to follow route. Many providers do not support applications that predate Second Polish Republic or even 1920. Which, sorry, looking to the back to admit more people. Yeah, so they are citing that 1920 citizenship law was the first law that described Polish citizenship as it was. And yeah, that's true, that those are the easiest cases to do. But there is a possibility, if your ancestors left even before 1920, to do the process. There are more factors to be checked against laws and treaties, etc. But let me rephrase that pre-1920 citizenship is also possible. I already mentioned that women's citizenship prior to 1951 was more risky path. It is because that naturalization or adopting citizenship by marriage, which was valid in the UK up till 1950, meant that this woman, this Polish citizen, lost her Polish citizenship with adopting another citizenship. With male lineages, it was more complicated, and fortunately for us, because of so-called military paradox law. If somebody would be interested in that, I will describe it in detail as well, but it involves a lot of facts that might not be necessary at this point. So, the second thing that you will need, we know that you have a Polish ancestor, you describe your family's history, family's lore with us, but for the government itself, we need to present a historic document proving those facts that we are citing. So we basically need a document that is very formal, very old-fashioned, so like a hard copy with a certification, with a stamp, or even an original in your possession. And those would include old Polish passports, old Polish IDs, military records. Those are the most common for Polish-British path, I would say, because many Polish ancestors followed with, first were deported by the USSR to Siberia, to other places in the USSR, then followed the Anders Army Trail through Iran, Palestine, Italy, and other countries. Even civilians followed the army, ended up in Africa or India, in Polish settlements there. But moving back to military records, there are fantastic records at the British Ministry of Defense, still very much preserved, about the service of Polish soldiers under British command. And that would be, for example, a great proof of citizenship. But other documents that are present in the state archives here in Poland are population censuses, domicile books, so something that proves your ancestor was legally inhabiting Poland in this Second Polish Republic period or the Partition Empires period, voters lists, tax property records, so again proving a domicile in indirect way. And let me rephrase again that birth, marriage and death records sadly do not prove citizenship itself. They are a nice tool of proving a descent, mostly between your Polish ancestor and yourself. They can be used as a supporting evidence showing some sort of continuity of events taking place in Poland, but they cannot be a sole proof of citizenship, and I do not really recommend placing the application solely with those called vital records, birth, marriage and death records. And final touches. So I already mentioned that you will need to prove you are a descendant. This is done with vital records from outside of Poland, mostly of course. So those will be birth and marriage records. Why marriage records? For citizenship to be passed in a male lineage, you need to prove that you were born in wedlock. With the marriage record predating the birth record of the next generation, you prove being birth in wedlock. You will also need a couple more difficult to secure documents, also not from Poland. And this is again about this period of history between 1920 and 1951, when you needed to prove like a naturalization status, military status, public office status sometimes also. So showing the Polish government documents of naturalization or military service is helpful for that. So they do not ask you for it and take the procedure even longer. Providing them proactively helps with cutting short the overall waiting time. Our job as a providers or any other provider you choose is also to have those documents that you provide to us sworn translated to Polish. So there is a list of Ministry of Justice approved translators in Poland. and they only have the right to do those sworn translations that are used in legal and administrative processes. In case you provide us with like very old and precious documents, old passports, old military documents, we strive also to make notary copies of those so that we can return the originals back to you when the process ends. At the same time as we are doing citizenship, we are also registering your vital records in Poland. We will also have a more in-depth slide about that in a minute. So, why to do it in the first place? I'm sure many of you wonder. Polish citizenship equals EU citizenship, so it is your right to a free travel within Schengen area. In an uncertain time, having multiple citizenship, which is allowed both in the UK and Poland, is a good plan B. And you do not risk military draft. So if you are doing it for yourself, your children, your grandchildren, I'm sure you are wondering whether they, as citizens of Poland, would have some sort of obligation to Poland. And this is a good thought to have, because you are not only thinking about the privileges, you are also thinking about civic duties. But let me assure you that even in the strict law of Poland, dual citizens who are residing outside of Poland are never subject to the military conscription. And moreover, back in 2009, the military draft was suspended by the Polish government. And even with the war in Ukraine really next door, it's not coming back still. Poland really focuses on building up the professional army corps. So it is, of course, my subjective opinion, but from what I'm seeing, living here in the country, there is a little chance of the military draft ever coming back. You can, of course, vote in Polish elections and in European elections, and it's less paperwork and more privileges for you and your family. Some member states allow, for example, free higher education. I know for a fact that France does it. Many of the provinces, lands in Germany as well. And again, it's much less paperwork to fill in when coming to Europe, to European Union, to reside permanently. Common myths. I listed a few. So I need multiple ancestors to be Polish. Not really. The myth comes from Karta Polaka, which is entirely different thing. It's not related to citizenship. In many ways, there you need like 2 sets of grandparents or 4 sets of great-grandparents. But for citizenship by descent, you really need one viable lineage, either by maternal grandfather, maternal grandmother, paternal grandfather, paternal grandmother. And we, providers, it is our job to analyze your input, you sharing the family history, to see whether you are eligible in this particular lineage. The myth number 2 is they need to be ethnic Poles or Catholics. It's far from truth. The Second Polish Republic was very diverse. Citizens of Poland were like Protestant Germans, Orthodox Belarusians, Greek Catholic Ukrainians, then called Ruthenians. So it was a very diverse place, and there was, of course, a large Jewish community as well. And they were all entitled to citizenship of Poland. And as such, descendants of those people are entitled to the citizenship as well. They left too early. I brushed on the topic. This is due to 1920 cutoff date. So it is true that emigration after 1920 is easier to do, generally speaking, and also in terms of securing proper documents that you need for your case. But it is possible to do pre-1920 cases, let me rephrase that, with presenting evidence that your ancestors were living in a Russian partition, German partition, or Austro-Hungarian partition, and that they didn't adopt any other citizenship before 1920. This is the important part. the myth number 4, they change their names. So the the important part of it is that you need a document to show the name change. So the sole factor that their name has changed is not that important as having some sort of document proof for the name change. And of course, the government is sympathetic to cases in which you show that your ancestor was Piotr in Poland and Peter in the UK or other country. I mean, like a significant surname change. For those, you would ideally need a deed poll or a name change showing on the naturalization certificate, which is also quite common. No one in the family has done before, so again, you can be the first in your family to do it, even after a significant gap, so to speak. You do not need to speak Polish, you do not need to reside in Poland. Moving on, about the planned changes to citizenship of Poland. It is true that the government plans a change to citizenship of Poland, but they cannot do it to citizenship by descent itself. The reason is that citizenship by descent is based on previous citizenship laws of Poland, and every citizenship law in Poland starts with the same sentence that the citizenship of Poland is granted to all the people that already had Polish citizenship, and then lists another factors. But due to this structure, the government is not able to reverse and to act retroactively on citizenship of all the descendants, because when you show that your ancestors were citizens of Poland and there was no loss of Polish citizenship, you cannot be stripped of this law. So even when the changes eventually come for the citizenship by residency or even citizenship by the presidential grant, if it will not change citizenship by descent itself. And I ended those myths with 2 negatives, because we talked a lot of positives. As to negatives, birth certificate alone will suffice. Sorry, it will not suffice. Being born in Poland, even as of today, and it was the same in the past, is not proof of citizenship. It is possible to be a foreigner being born on the Polish soil. And we also had a question submitted by one of the participants, I believe, asking about whether citizenship is passed in marriage. So sadly, again, I have to say that citizenship is not passed in marriage. So the eligible persons from your family are blood relatives. So you, your children, but not your partner, not your spouse. What I can say is that European Union, even back in 2004, introduced a rule that prohibited separating European citizens from their families, and reverse, of course. So when traveling together, please consult the border guard first, of course, but when traveling together, you should be fine, because again, there is a rule that European citizens cannot be split from their families. And how it works. So, I always like to pin this, that you are a citizen from the moment of your birth. This is a very neat thing to say. You're already a citizen, you just need the government to say it in writing, basically. Because as it is with prawo krwi, rule of blood, jus sanguinis in Latin, you are born with citizenship of your both parents or one parent, and same goes for your Polish parent and Polish grandparent, etc. So the purpose of the application is just to prove that this is a fact, so you are presenting evidence to the government, and they have no choice but to give you a certificate that says you are a Polish citizen from the moment of your birth. It even says so on the certificate. With this citizenship certificate, you are then perfectly able to request a Polish passport at your Polish consulate or embassy in London, of course. In most cases, the citizenship confirmation happens at the Mazovian Provincial Office in Warsaw. This is because of something called in the Polish rule of law właściwość. This means that everybody that has a domicile outside of Poland have their office proper in Warsaw. Only if you are living already in Poland and in another województwo province, then your provincial office is of course in that city based on the province. But in majority of the cases it happens in Warsaw, and it shows because I recently inquired about the number of cases overall in Poland last year, of course, and number of cases in Warsaw was 25,000, and numbers in other provinces were not exceeding 1,000 for the most part. So yeah. For Polish European passport, you will also need your Polish vital records registered, and proven representatives, agents do that as well. We at Get Polish Citizenship, of course, do that as well. We register your birth and marriage in Poland. This requires your British or other, if you are not from the UK, certificate to be sent to Poland. We then sworn translated, place together the source document and the translation to the registry office, and it is being registered by the Polish registry office, and it produces your Polish version of this certificate. It is needed for the passport. So I already brushed on the number of applications at Warsaw office. So yeah, this is the one downside. The procedure is definitely not for the impatient. The queue is very long nowadays, with 25,000 applications last year, and reported approximately 8 employees at the department. So you can imagine how their workday looks like. The government itself sized the delay as of today to be approximately 20 months, and it is presumed generally that it will go up. That the waiting time basically goes up every year as of today. Yeah, so that's the main part of the webinar. I already introduced myself a little bit at the start, but yeah, this is me in the photo. I've been doing this since 2019. Our firm is based in Krakow, Poland, in the Krakow metro area. Right now I'm in my home. Yeah, and we have done really hundreds, and if not over 1,000 cases overall. Yeah, and my pride is that I'm really interested in the field. I'm learning every day, basically. I'm checking new interpretations. I'm getting broader view on international treaties, laws connected to Polish citizenship. So I'm really in depth of this field, and I invite you to send us the details of your family history, your case. The analysis is of course free of charge. You do not pay anything, just to know whether you are eligible for the process or not. So I highly encourage contacting us. And moving on to everybody's favorite part, question and answers time. I will start with a couple of questions that were submitted by the registration forms, if that's okay. I promise to move through those quickly, so we can then move on to questions of participants here. So the most common question asked was how to secure documents, really. So how to secure my father's birth certificate or my relative's birth certificate. So it would really depend on number of years that passed since the event. So let's say that your father was born in 1930. 1930. So it is still not more than 100 years from the event, the birth. This means that the birth certificate should still be with the registry office. This is a legal institution in Poland that handles registration of birth, marriages and deaths, similar to UK's GRO. If it's older than 100 years, so let's say it's from 1919, it should be at the state archives. I use the word should be because the transfer between the registry office and the archive is not streamlined. It happens with different procedures depending on the place. Sometimes the book covers a longer period of time, so they do not want to pass the book even though, let's say, 1920 births should already be public. But they also have in books the births from 1928, so they will wait until 2028 to pass the book in its entirety to the archive, to the state archives. So generally speaking, it's either registry office or the state archives. Marriage and death certificates have also their time of data privacy, data protection, and you have to take into account that. And let me rephrase that our firm also does research and those kind of queries. Even if it's not citizenship related, we can assist. So the question number 2, do I need an address in Poland? Yes, for legal procedures in Poland, you need an address in Poland so the office can mail their reply to you, even though they are starting to move to electronic delivery, and it will probably change sometime in the future when more and more replies will be connected with the electronic system that is already available. But as of today, you need either a address in Poland or so-called pełnomocnik do doręczeń, so proxy for deliveries. And if you hire an agent, a provider, we serve as such. So you grant us authorization, and we are also your proxy for deliveries. So our firm address is being used in legal correspondence. The third question was, my parents were Polish, how to secure citizenship? So this is a very general question, so to speak, but again, you basically need a good document proof that your parents were indeed Polish citizens. For example, old Polish passports, old Polish IDs, or population census showing them living in Poland. But speaking generation-wise, if we are talking parents and not grandparents or great-grandparents, the Polish passports probably are the most available source and most ready source, really, to be obtained at the Institute of National Remembrance for all the emigrations that happened after the Second World War. Is citizenship passed in marriage? I already discussed it. Sadly, citizenship is not passed in marriage, but the European Union granted some rights for European citizens and their families not to be split during the Troubles. My ancestors were from a place that's no longer Polish. Can I be confirmed? That's actually a very interesting question, and this is very in place for a lot of UK-based families, because I'm sure you are aware of it. Your ancestors could have come from a place called Kresy. Those places were after the war granted to the USSR, to Belarusian Republic under USSR, and Ukrainian Republic also under USSR. But the legal view is that your ancestors were citizens of Poland, and it doesn't really matter that the places they were from change hands after the war. So yes, you can still be confirmed even if your ancestor came from Kresy. The only exception to this rule would be if they really remained in the USSR up till 1959, 1960, because then there was an international treaty between USSR and Poland, Polish People's Republic, really, to limit dual citizenship. But with UK stories, they obviously left well before that, either by displaced person camps or with Anders Army trail, either civilian or military one. So that's not an obstacle, definitely. And in a related question, the next one, how to obtain records for refugees and displaced persons. So and there are two ways of doing this. First is direct. I recommend contacting the Bad Arolsen archives in Germany. and they are holding documents of the International Tracing Service and everything related to refugees and displaced persons camps. The records are very interesting read, especially if you do not really know where your ancestors came from in Poland, or are not sure about the details of their life, their exact birthplace, their exact date of birth. If you know that they came through the refugee camps, it is a good idea to search at the Bad Earls and database, which is partially available online as well, and look there for those details. And in Poland, again, the Institute of National Remembrance is the institution that has an access to the same database based on the international treaty between Poland and Germany. So you can do it either way. We can, of course, assist happily to do so, and that's how you secure those records. And the last one from pre-submitted questions by the registration form: can I do one application for me, my children and my grandchildren? It depends on the technicality. For you, it can be treated as one application, but for us, your legal representatives, it's not one application, but they are all connected. So let's say it's you, your 2 children and your 4 grandchildren. So for the 7 of you, we will submit 7 applications to the government, but your application as the closest link to the Polish ancestors will be the main one. But still we have to do the work 7 times. Of course, some parts of the work are like copy-paste, but at the same time we also have to register vital records of each applicant, even of the minor children. And it's quite funny because even for minor children you place the entire application which is like 12 pages, which is kind of bizarre. For presidential grant, if you have minor children, you just list them on the very last page that they are also applying with you, but for citizenship by descent, each application is done separately. So in your eyes it will be one application for the entire family, but technically speaking, for the provider, it will be multiple applications, but they are all connected, treated as one project. So now we will move to questions from the audience. I will just leave the email and website contact information in case you want to write it down. And so it's visible, of course. So I'm waiting for your questions.
Can we just speak?
Yes. You can also use on Google Meets there is a raise hand, so that way you can signal that you are in first line. But I think it's quite we are not that many here, so yeah, I think we will handle.
Maybe I have a quick question. Through my father, it would be what you described, the normal Anders route. So the only thing I would have is his Teshkami Evidencina from the MD. I have an alternative, which is my mother, who was English, actually had a Polish passport granted by Wałęsa because of the work she did for Solidarity and taking aid into Belarus and Ukraine. It's obviously an old cancelled one. Might that be simpler, because it's obviously newer, more recent?
Yeah, so I would still say that doing it through your father's side would be easier, even though it is more far removed in terms of the timeline. But you can neatly present that your father was a citizen when you were still a minor child or were not even born yet. So the government will understand that you were born with Polish citizenship already. As to your mother, she was granted with citizenship, so it will only be passed to you if you were a minor child or again not even born yet when this event occurred. So Yeah, I think
Yeah,
given...
that's fine. I understand. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. So I'm waiting for other questions. Happy to answer those. and thank you, Danuta, for asking, of course.
I can say something. Obviously, I've listened to everything that you've said. Yeah, and I don't have any questions really. I think you've covered what I need to know, and I think I just need to speak to you directly because both my parents are Polish. They both died now. And interesting what you said about if records for births are over 100 years old, and my father was born in 1922, so he was out of that bracket already. But you've given me everything I think I need to progress this, because I actually live in France. I moved here 17 years ago, and because of Brexit, I have to get something called a carte de séjour. So that lasts 10 years. So that I live here, I have a house here, I pay my taxes here, but I have to renew this every 10 years, and I want to avoid doing that. And the way to do it is to get the Polish citizenship, because you're part of the EU. So that's where I'm coming from, and so I was very interested to hear that I could do this. It's in France to get the citizenship. Your French has to be very good. I'm married to a French girl. She tries to speak French to me, but my French is not good enough to pass that exam. I'm language lazy, but when you said that you don't need to speak fluent Polish, I lit up really. So there you go.
Thank you for your input. Yeah, I can sympathize because back in college I was trying to learn French as well, and I failed miserably. Language lazy is a good term. I think I will use it from now on, because I often joke around that if I wasn't a native speaker of Polish, I wouldn't master it as well, because it's just too hard. It doesn't follow many logical rules, so to speak.
Bless you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm happy with your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so it is best to share your family details by email or by some sort of contact form, whichever is most convenient for you, because of course those are data protected facts, so we do not want to disclose those here. As to the passing between registry and the archive, it really depends on the province. So there are provinces in Eastern Poland which are very slow to pass those books to the state archives, and there are provinces in which they just push them as soon as the year turns, so to speak. So yeah, it is really case dependent. And thank you very much for your input.
So if it is over 100 years and hence in the archive, let's say the birth certificate would be in my case, it would be 1918. I've seen it online because obviously you can search the archives. I can see it on Genetica.
Yes.
But presumably you have to apply to the archives for some kind of
certified copy. Yes. So that's just a printout of what you have seen with a stamp from the state archives, and then it's good to use for the legal process. Yeah.
May I ask a question?
Of course.
It's lovely, all the information that we've got, but how much is it to have this information processed, and the costings of it?
Yes, so the case analysis is always free of charge. It is really an industry standard. So even if you do not go with us, what can I say? And it is worth remembering, if somebody asks you for a fee to be paid for the analysis itself, do not go with them, because it's highly suspicious. All the biggest players in this field have a free analysis tool, so you just send your family information. There are some questions to be answered. If not, everything is certain right away. But the sole answer to your question, whether you can apply successfully or not, is free of charge. After that, it really depends whether you also need a help with document search, whether you need a whole package, because you can do just a document search, you can do just citizenship, or you can do bundle of those. And it also, I'm really sorry to say it depends a lot, but it does, because when you have, for example, a document search that needs to happen in Ukraine, it was Poland up till 1945, but it is now Ukraine, and documents remained at the Ukrainian State Archives. Obviously, the cost for the provider is more than it would be just doing the search within borders of modern-day Poland. So the document search fee would vary based on whether it's Poland, Belarus, Ukraine, Lithuania, really limited to those in most of cases. And with citizenship itself, we start at £1,200 per person. Given the complexity of the case, it could rather not significantly go up, and it also can go down with family discount program that we have. So, for example, you apply with your children, grandchildren, then we are able to offer you a better price, discounted price for multiple applications. Again, we still need to file those all applications separately, but some work is repeated. So that's the cost for the family discount.
Does that, presumably then there's actually a charge from the government as well?
Yes, but the fee is structured in such a way that you do not pay any fees to the government anymore. So with our fee, we cover sworn translations, we cover notarization of documents in Poland, we cover the fees paid to the government, so for the citizenship confirmation, for the registration of birth and registration of marriage. The only fee that we do not pay, with the fee you paid us, is the fee for the passport itself. So at the very end, you go to the Polish consulate with document package from us. It includes Polish citizenship certificate, it includes your Polish vital records, and some pre-filled forms that are in Polish and would perhaps be difficult for you to fill on your own. But from your side, you need to bring your valid ID, you need to have your up-to-date photo for the passport, and you need to pay a fee for the passport to the Polish government. But that's the only fee that it is not covered by the fee paid to us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we still have plenty time left, so if you want to ask about your particular case, I'm more than happy to answer.
I think during as well, when the war broke out, I mean, bless their hearts, Polish people lost their homes and everything. It was obviously a terrible time, and they were promised a better life in some ways after the war, which never materialised. Is there still a case of people being able to reclaim land from Poland, or?
Yes, there are still many cases ongoing in Poland for so-called reprywatyzacja, so handling from the state to the descendants, to the probates of the estate. And with Polish citizenship, the process is streamlined, but you do not necessarily need a Polish citizenship to open up a case. You can do it as a non-Polish citizen as well. But for this, you would need, of course, a lot of property documents, a lot of documents showing that you are a descendant. Oh, sorry. But with those kind of queries, it is best to work with a lawyer directly. We have partnerships that we can recommend. If you have a case, we can do, for example, research for you and then hand you over to a partner at the law firm that will do the whole court proceedings in Poland and perhaps be able to secure you the inheritance.
Wonderful. You know this video link. You say it's being recorded.
Yes. If you do not wish to be in the video, it will be uploaded to YouTube. Just let me know, because at the very start of the call, I asked if somebody is not granting permission for the recording, they should turn off their camera. But if it's too late, you can also let me know, and in the editing mode, I can just hide the image, so your image is not available in this recording. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if we could listen to it again. That was
all. Yeah, sure. So I invite you to follow us on Facebook or Instagram, or even just write to the email that you see shared here. And I can share with you the recording that will be uploaded to our YouTube channel.
Okay, thank you. It's been very useful and very helpful.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We still have approximately 10 minutes, so if you want to ask about your case, I'm here for you.
It's just nice to be known that we are Polish.
Yes. Yes, you always are, even if you do not know about it, even if you do not speak Polish or weren't in Poland ever. It is still your birthright.
If there are no other burning questions, the Teczka Ewidencyjna that you get from the MOD is just a pile of photocopies of old documents. Is that what they need? Just that?
So it changed over time. Back when I started doing it, they were issuing stamped copies of those files. But right now, how they do it, they send you an electronic or printout of the source files, and they add 2 letters that are hard copies with a wet signature. Sorry. You just need to specify that those documents are needed for Polish citizenship case. And then they issue those 2 letters that they send you by Royal Mail. And those combined with the printouts, or we print the electronic copy that you received, are sufficient for use. Yes.
Yeah, I think we got ours quite a few years ago, so it probably doesn't have that.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, so if that's all, I think we'll cut short this meeting. It was very productive meeting anyway. I feel the recording will be available on YouTube, and I invite you to contact us, to contact our firm. The analysis is free of charge, so you are not charged with anything until you express that you want to move forward and sign a contract, etc. So there is no risking in contacting us. Yeah, and I'm wishing you a very lovely evening.
Thank you.
And many thanks. Many thanks.